Every year, millions of people look at the Colosseum. They see the arches. They see the ruins. They imagine gladiators, emperors, and crowds screaming from the seats. But most people never think about what was underneath it. Because below the arena floor, hidden under the sand, there was another world. A world of tunnels, cages, trapdoors, elevators, workers, animals, and men waiting to die. The Colosseum was not just a stadium, it was a machine. And the most terrifying part of that machine was hidden underground. When people visit Rome today, the Colosseum feels like an ancient monument, a beautiful ruin, a symbol of the Roman Empire, a place for photos, tours, and history books. But to the Romans, it was something very different. It was entertainment. It was politics. It was propaganda. It was a way for emperors to show power. Imagine 50,000 people packed inside one building, waiting for the show to begin. The crowd is loud. The sun is burning. The emperor is watching. And everyone is staring at the arena floor. But the real preparation is happening below them, under their feet. The Romans did not only build a place where people could watch violence, they built a system that could control surprise, a system that could make animals appear out of nowhere, a system that could raise scenery from below the ground, a system that could turn death into theatre. That system was called the Hypogeum, and without it, the Colosseum would not have been the same. When the crowd looked down, they saw the arena, a wide floor covered with sand. The word arena actually comes from the Latin word for sand, and that sand had a purpose. It absorbed blood. But the sand was also hiding something. Because the arena floor was not just a floor, it was a lid. Underneath it was a complex underground system filled with corridors and chambers. To the audience, the show looked almost magical. A gladiator enters. A beast appears. A tree rises from the ground. A trap opens. A scene changes. But none of it was magic. It was machinery. Below the arena, workers were moving through narrow corridors, operating lifts, opening trapdoors, handling animals, preparing props, and creating the illusion that the arena itself was alive. The crowd saw the performance, but the Hypogeum was the backstage. And it was probably one of the most intense backstage areas in human history.
Before the Colosseum existed, this area of Rome had a very different meaning. After the Great Fire of Rome, Emperor Nero built a massive palace complex for himself. One of its most famous features was an artificial lake. A private lake in the heart of the city for the emperor. But after Nero died, the new rulers of Rome had a problem. Nero had become a symbol of excess, luxury, and tyranny. So the Flavian emperors did something brilliant. They took the land that once belonged to Nero's private world and gave it back to the people. The lake was drained, and in its place, they built one of the largest amphitheaters the world had ever seen.
The message was simple. This is not Nero's playground anymore. This belongs to Rome. But the Colosseum was more than a political message. It was an engineering masterpiece. It had entrances, stairways, seating sections, crowd control, shade systems, and underground operations. In many ways, it worked like a modern stadium, but with one major difference. Modern stadiums are built for sports. The Colosseum was built for spectacle. And spectacle needs secrets.
Now imagine being down there. Not in the seats, not under the open sky, not watching from above, but below, in the dark. The air is hot. The corridors are narrow. You hear the crowd above you, but you cannot see them. You hear animals, lions, leopards, bears, wolves. You hear chains, wooden mechanisms, men shouting instructions. Some people down there are workers. Some are handlers. Some are prisoners. Some are gladiators. And some are waiting for a door to open. The Hypogeum was not designed to be comfortable. It was designed to function. It had to move animals, people, and scenery.
It had to create timing. It had to create fear. Because in the Colosseum, surprise was part of the show. If the audience always knew where the danger would come from, the spectacle would lose power. But if a lion could appear from below, if a man could suddenly be lifted into the arena, if a door could open and change the entire scene, then the arena became unpredictable. And unpredictability is what makes fear powerful. One of the most fascinating parts of the Hypogeum was its system of lifts. These were not elevators like we have today, of course. They were wooden platforms operated by ropes, pulleys, winches, and human strength. Workers below the arena could raise animals and scenery up to the floor. A trapdoor would open, the platform would rise, and suddenly something terrifying would appear in front of the crowd. To the Romans watching from the seats, it must have felt supernatural. One moment, the arena is empty. The next moment, a wild animal is standing there. Imagine being a hunter or gladiator in the arena. You do not know where the next threat will come from. A door could open behind you. A cage could rise beside you. A beast could appear from the ground. This was not random chaos. It was controlled chaos. The Colosseum was designed to make violence feel like a story with timing, a story with suspense, a story with surprises. And the Hypogeum was the engine that made that story possible. So why did Rome build something this complex? Why not just bring animals through a gate? Why not just have gladiators walk in normally? Because that would be too simple. The Romans understood something very important about entertainment. People do not only want to see what happens, they want to feel something before it happens. Suspense, fear, curiosity, shock. The Hypogeum created all of that. It allowed the organizers to control the rhythm of the show. A quiet moment, then a sudden appearance. A man alone in the arena, then a trapdoor opens. A peaceful scene, then chaos. In other words, the underground system turned the Colosseum into a theatre of fear. And the emperor was not just giving people entertainment, he was showing them power. Power over animals, power over prisoners, power over life and death, power over the crowd itself. Because when 50,000 people react at the same time, that is not just entertainment, that is social control. Today, when people walk around the Colosseum, they often look up at the arches, at the walls, at the size of the structure. But the real secret is that the Colosseum was just as impressive below as it was above. The upper levels showed Roman architecture. The underground showed Roman organization. Above ground, Rome displayed beauty. Below ground, Rome displayed control. And that is what makes the Hypogeum so fascinating. It was not hidden because it was unimportant. It was hidden because it was supposed to be invisible. The best machinery is often the machinery the audience never sees. When the crowd gasped, they were not thinking about workers in the dark.
They were not thinking about ropes and pulleys. They were not thinking about the men sweating under the floor. They were thinking, how did that happen? And that was exactly the point. But there is another side to this. The Colosseum is often remembered as a symbol of Roman greatness. And yes, it was an incredible piece of engineering. But it was also a place built around suffering. The same system that created surprise for the audience created terror for the people and animals inside it. For the crowd, a trapdoor opening was exciting. For someone in the arena, it could mean death. For the audience, the roar of an animal was part of the show. For the person standing on the sand, it was real. That is what makes the Colosseum so strange. It is beautiful and horrifying at the same time. A masterpiece of architecture and a machine for violence. A wonder of the ancient world and a reminder of how far people will go to be entertained. So the next time you see the Colosseum, do not only look at the walls, look at the ground. Because under that arena was another Colosseum, a hidden one, a darker one, the one that made the show possible. The Colosseum was not just a place where history happened, it was a machine, built to control what people saw, what they felt, and what they feared. And the most important part of that machine was never meant to be seen.
So, if you want more stories about the hidden parts of ancient history, subscribe, because the world we think we know is full of places that were built to hide their secrets in plain sight.